Hello, hello, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. How is everyone today? We're going to talk about a what do you do and are you prepared for your future? And you come to the Philippines, say you sold everything in the world and you have money in the bank and you have income about $2,000 a month. Good income. I think that's good income. I think it's great income. I lived on less than that in the U.S. But say you come here and you got 2 grand coming in every month, easy peasy, coming in, no worries, no worries, no worries. You have money in the bank, 200K, 100K, 200K in the bank, you're okay. You got almost $250,000. What if you pass? What if you die? We're going to talk about Peter. He lived in Denver. And I got my notes instead of printing out. He came here at 60. He passed at 65 due to health issues. So he had 5 years. He owned no land, no house, no anything, but he had a nice car. But he's making payments on a car of $400 a month. He had insurance. He had insurance now. This is the thing. Through Metropolitan, a 100K policy, which is good for him. So he's covered for insurance. And he had an accidental death policy through Hartford Insurance, which will not cover anything. They do have a plan through Hartford that you can actually get some type of benefit, but I don't know the details of that. So say, for instance, he had 200K in the bank. He had 100K insurance. And she is 40 years old. His wife is 40. 200K, $800 a month, $1,000 a month. You guys can do the math. You got 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, depending on how you spend the money. She could be 60, say, or she'll be 45, or she'll be 50, or she'll be 60. However that is. She's got 3 kids. She's got 3 kids. 8 years old, a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old. Well, it's going to be 8 years for one can get into college, or 10 years, and accordingly, as you can see, so they were spending about $1,000 to $1,200 a month on income after paying the $400 a month for the car, and of course they rented a house there up in Luzon. Here's the thing. Lady reached out to me, says insurance is saying that the insurable interest, which is insurable interest, is in order to buy a policy, you have to have insurable interest. That person has to be, if you have a policy or death, it's like Ruth. If I pass, Ruth would get my insurable interest. She has an interest into me for that amount of money. So, for an example, I'm married to her, and she is my insurable interest. I could put my insurable interest to RR, and those my beneficiary. But Hartford is not into this. Metropolitan says they will not pay any insurance because they could not see that there is insurable interest. Even though they're married, she has no rights to the money. Even though they're married, it would go to the kids or whoever they are, not these kids, any kids that he had previously or someone else previously, if they could prove insurable interest. And insurable interest, she could actually present them with a marriage certificate, which she has, and they denied it because they don't recognize that. In other words, they're not. What I'm saying is, here as it stands, you could just go get married. In other words, you could have another man stand in and get married here. So they're not sure if it's true papers or falsification papers. The land itself is she don't have any land. Of course, like I said, okay, I'm going back and forth here. So the 200K, 100K, whatever you have. So what I'm saying is this: when you come to the Philippines, make sure you have a backup plan. Now, not everybody has it. I have to tell you, when I first decided I'm coming to the Philippines, I had rose-colored glasses on also. I'm going to tell the truth. But I knew that I could figure it out. One way or another, I figured it out. I figured out some way to figure it out. And that's one of the reasons why I opted in this particular decision to go another path down that road, which you guys are knowing I'm going on this path. So, but what if you're already here and you said, I'm never going back there. I'm never touching that place. But what if you pass today, whatever age you are, I don't care how old you are, it doesn't matter. You can pass at 45. Pass today, you're gone. Who's going to take care of your wife? She's going to take care of herself. She's going to take care of her children herself. Maybe you have a child by that wife. Maybe you don't have a child. That is so important here. People don't even think about that. They don't even take second base on that. Say, for instance, you're dating a girl and you're really fond of her, but you're not married her yet, and you pass. You can think about it this way. Nothing is guaranteed in life, and you always have to be prepared. Plan A, B, C. Expect the unexpected. So if a person is, like Peter, for an example, he thought he had everything worked out. He had the insurable interest he thought would be fine, meaning his wife. But the problem was he didn't confirm it with Metropolitan. He should have confirmed with Metropolitan. Can I make sure that my wife is going to get my money some pass? He assumed that everything would be fine. Even though you write on the piece of paper, underwriting can come back and say, let me see insurable, let me show me proof that you're married to that man. And show me proof in pictures and this, that, and other. Well, it's 5 years ago. They have some pictures, but there was no need in a lot of pictures because of the wedding and things like that. They had a few, but they didn't have like we're getting a visa or anything. I mean, he came here. It's not like they got married immediately. He got married whenever that time frame was. And she's 40ish. She had 3 kids. And she still has 3 kids. And he's helped raising those 3 kids. But as you can see, if you can imagine this, at the age he came, one of the children was probably 1 year old. So he raised that one child for 5 years there. So I'm saying this: if you have insurance, make sure that the insurable interest is there. If you are planning to never go back to the States, which I don't know that would be something I would ever say in my lifetime. The United States of America is a great country no matter what. No matter what anybody says, and I stand behind that. If you choose to stay here and you have your wife taken care of, congratulations. That's what my point is here. If you have your wife and your daughter taken care of, where they don't have to worry about another thing in their life. But if you don't have your wife and daughter and your children and your whomever, you need to plan that out. And I'm sorry to be kind of harsh here to a certain extent, and it gets beside me a little bit because I feel sorry now for Peter and for his wife and the 3 kids. Now what are they going to do? They got money in the bank. They're okay for 10 years, 15 years, or are they okay? I don't know. Can't you invest the money? Invest the money. Everybody says, "Well, invest the money." Yeah, okay. A Filipino is going to know how to invest, $250,000. Now, I say that, and she said she probably spent about $20,000 of that money already, surviving, paying the funeral, doing this and doing that, trying to sell the car, sold the car at a loss so they get out from underneath the payments, and trying to figure out because she has no more income coming in. His pension is stopped. It's gone completely, and then she has what's in the bank. Now, she had a hard time accessing those funds in the bank. You can't just go down there and get the funds. He always did the transfers, point A to point B, and she didn't even know how to do that. Instruct your wife if something happens, A to B to C to D, so she knows how to do it. Because you think that you're oblivious to anything happening. It's going to happen to anybody. Here in the Philippines, it just does. And as you can see, the Philippines can be a savior for many. It can make an old person older fast also. If you're not doing anything, if you're not active, if you're not going around doing things that you once did and being very active that you once were in the States, and you come here and you just plop like a blob, it will deteriorate. Your life will deteriorate 10, 15 years fast here. I mean, I see it happen all the time where people come here and they look worse than they did before they got here because they're not doing anything and be active enough to stay in health and make sure they have that maintenance. But I think a lot of times, and having an insurance policy is a good thing, but also make sure that insurance policy will cover the person here. Most of the time you'll find that those Metropolitan, Aetna, and some of the big companies, the insurable interest, they can turn you down really fast on that. Another case that I know, I don't remember his name. I wrote his name down on a piece of paper, but he had the same situation happen. They did not pay any insurance either to his wife. He passed, and the insurable interest. They couldn't prove the insurable interest. The thing of it is, they take out the policies in U.S. and then they come here and then they either add them on the policy or don't add them at all, and don't have any beneficiaries, and don't think about the day he's going to die. And you can, as you know, you can get term insurance and things like that. And then the underwriting department gets a hand of it. I mean, sure, do they want to pay? No, they don't want to pay out, but they will pay you. And I've delivered many checks myself, because I had my own agency, my own insurance agency at one time, and I delivered many checks. I was a broker. I did property and casualty insurance. I did life insurance. I did it all. I did car insurance. I did every bit of it. So there's times where I actually would deliver a check for, $500,000, $200,000, $1 million to people that had the coverage. And there's many times that, and even when I would tell them, make sure you change the policy. If you leave the country, make sure, because not all policies cover outside the United States. Even though they say they do, they don't. You have to really ask. And if you have to, call underwriting and ask them. They're always, always there to help you. If you have a policy with Metropolitan, Aetna, Life and Casualty, whomever it is, and you can call them. There's a toll-free number on there. You can call them and ask them. So I suggest you do that. So lady has money. She's okay set, but she's set for at least 15 years, maybe 10 years. But that income will go fast. As you guys know, it goes fast, just here as it does anywhere. So I wanted to talk about this today briefly and kind of go through that, and so you have a pretty good idea. God bless everybody, and thank you so much for everything.